The topic is emerging challenges and opportunities for technical education in India, developing job creators. So we are not going into the history of technical education. We are not going to discuss only the present issues. Of course, we'll start with the present status and present problems, but surely next few years, say next 5 years, what will be the emerging scenario of technical education and the availability of jobs in our country? Some of the stalwarts of higher education, technical education are present here. We would like to know their views in subsequent sessions, because the subsequent session is for the standalone addresses to be given by some of the eminent educators and technical education pioneers. So I would like to say that technical education is different from general classical education. Technical education defined under AICTE Act 1987, it includes engineering, management, pharmacy, architecture, hotel management, applied art and crafts. The 7 disciplines under the Act which was passed by the Parliament 1987 included under the AICTE Act. AICTE was formed thereafter, and AICTE is a regulating authority for these 7 disciplines. Professional education is another category under which there are many disciplines like medical education or law education, etc. So our scope is confined to only technical education. And we are going to discuss in the context of the big job problems which is being faced by India's young population. In spite of getting technical education, higher education, young people are unable to get a decent job and to start their career. So here, the big issue is that AICTE is having around 6,000 engineering and technology colleges, and it is having a 1.5 million intake for engineering education. Around 1.2 lakhs students are graduating in engineering colleges and universities. Then there are management institutions, more than 3,000 business schools, and around 6 lakhs students are graduating. And recently, only last year, the Parliament has passed certain amendments to the AICTE Act, and BBA education has been also included under the AICTE. There are 13,000 BBA colleges in our country. So technical education has been a big source for India's economy in past, particularly engineering and management education. And the growth of IT industry in our country has been envisioned by the founders of our nation. IITs were the pioneers, but later many technical engineering institutions came up in our country. Dr. G. Viswanathan is one of the pioneers who has started the engineering college, VIT Vellore, I think in 1980s. And he, after his footsteps, following his footsteps, many other private entrepreneurs, they have started engineering colleges. Management institutes were also set up in our country. So it's a history of 60, 70 years. So management and engineering education created millions of people who are working across the world. And India has provided some of the best engineering and management professionals. So in this scenario, now there is a problem that all the students passing out from engineering colleges and management institutes are not getting the jobs. So the issue for discussion is how we can transform the technical education, how we can connect it with the requirements or provisions or mandate of NEP 2020 so that it can produce job creators. It can groom job creators rather than job seekers. So what is the difference? You may be knowing very well, those who want to job in a corporate or government setup, they are the job seekers, and those who are setting their companies, startups, giving job to others, they are the job creators and job givers. So this is the background. It is a very complicated, complex issue. So I would invite one by one my fellow panelists. we have a very powerful panel. We have Vice Chancellor of OP Jindal University, Raigad, Dr. R.D. Patidar. Can we request all of you to give a big applause to welcome the fellow panelists. Dr. T. Koti Reddy, Vice Chancellor of IFHE Hyderabad, Professor Chaudhary Satish Kumar, VC of SRM University AP, and of course Dr. Tapan Nayak, Director, Jaipuria School of Business, Ghaziabad. So let me start with Dr. Patidar, and he can speak from his seat, and he can take 3 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm Dr. R.D. Patidar, Vice Chancellor, OP Jindal University, Chhattisgarh, Raigad, Chhattisgarh. At the outset, I thanks to FWA and IIRF for giving this opportunity. As said by Professor Chaturvedi, this is a very relevant topic. Today, the technical education is facing a lot of challenges, and one of the most important challenges is the employability. The maximum engineering graduates are the technical graduates coming out from various institutions across the country, and they are not able to get the job. And the most important reason is that there is a gap between industry and academia. There is a gap between theory and practice, and there is a gap between the research and innovation. The most important employability skills required nowadays are the innovation, creativity, critical thinking, problem-solving ability, adaptability. So how to develop all these skills, competencies in the students is the biggest challenge. I think there is a need to revamp the three most important components of the education system. That is the curriculum, the pedagogy, and the assessment system. The curriculum should be the skill-based curriculum, should be technology-driven. Skill-based and technology-driven, as we all know today, the technology is changing at very high rate. Rate of change of technology and rate of change of upgradation of the curriculum, there is a mismatching. I personally believe that like a medical college cannot open without a hospital, how engineering institutions should open without industries. In OP Jindal University, the philosophy of our management is, this university is located in a very small town, in a village of population even less than 1,000. But this university is surrounded by more than 100 small, medium, and large scale industries, and because of that, we have a strong industry ecosystem. We are sending 100% of our faculty to industry for 1 month every year, not for 1 year. If the faculty do not know what is going on, what is the changes happening in the industry, how they can teach to the students. The role of faculty today is not just mug up, go and deliver the lecture. It is not a rote-based learning system today. Today, we must adopt the exponential learning, problem and project-based learning. We should go and identify the problem of the industry, problem of the society, assign that problem to the students, and role of teacher should be facilitator. What we are doing in our university at Chhattisgarh, we are sending our faculty to the industry, and we are in process of establishing the India's best skill development center in 4 or 5 verticals. So the curriculum should be the skill-based curriculum. As per the National Education Policy 2020 also said that the curriculum should be the skill-based curriculum, because today the companies are giving weightage to skills rather than simple degree of plain paper. So skills like artificial intelligence, machine learning, robotics, hydraulics, pneumatics, mechatronics, renewable energy like solar, wind, electric vehicles, Industry 4.0, AR, VR. In morning, you are saying, sir, that in morning that this is one of the most important technology available today. And there was a lot of discussion happened in the morning also. So these are some of the skills which we must make the part of the curriculum. Second, it should be technology driven. And third, I would like to say that the assessment system, today what is our assessment system is based on the knowledge. is the based on the right and wrong. I think the system should be based on the approach best to check the creativity of the students. For example,
Thank you, Dr. Patidar.
Thank
We
you.
have to abide by the time limit and
Yeah, and
so
I understand.
my apology.
Understand.
So,
Thank you.
yeah, we will invite you further when we shall have question and answer session. Let me now request Dr. T. Koti Reddy to give his initial remarks.
In the era of globalization, number of private educational institutions have come up, and now we are allowing foreign institutions also to enter into the country and set up their campuses within our country. As far as the market size of technical and vocational courses is concerned, the market size has reached to $54 million by 2024, and it is expected to grow at a compound annual growth rate of 13.5% by 2030. So as far as all technical courses are concerned, the proportion of STEM courses will be more in the coming days. And now the technical education must be able to respond to the rising expectations of the students and the demand for the global competition. Now almost all institutions have focused more on the rising the quality of education. And as far as the India is concerned, and we are expecting that we are going to just achieve demographic dividend in the coming days, because in the coming years, the proportion of people in the age group of 18 to 35% will be nearly 60% of the people will be in the age group of 18 to 35. So as a result, in order to provide more technical education to the growing youngsters, there is a need to concentrate on the development of technical education. As far as the education in higher education is concerned, now the education in enrollment in higher education was reached to 28.3%, but we expect by 2035 the gross enrollment ratio in higher education should be at 50%. At the same time, as far as the technical education is concerned, the gross enrollment ratio in technical education rises from 23% in 2014-15 to 28% by 2024. So, number of private education institutions, now they have come up with some innovative courses, particularly courses such as artificial intelligence, coding, data science, robotics, cognitive systems, full stack development, and biological sciences. The national education policy also emphasized the importance of providing employability to students. So how can you provide employability to students? The national education policy clearly mentioned about multidisciplinary courses, and at the same time, some outcome-based learning and experiential learning. These are the things that national education policy has mentioned.
Thank you.
So in my opinion, employment and at the same time entrepreneurship are complementary. So in the next round, if Professor Chaturvedi provides an opportunity, just I will focus on employment and entrepreneurship. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. T. Koti Reddy. Now let me invite Professor Chaudhary Satish Kumar, VC of SRM University.
Good afternoon, everyone. The dilemma of technical institutions is that whether we create job for preparing the student for the job or preparing them for an entrepreneurship. If you look at that, it is still job. If hypothetically, if you think about that, tomorrow 50% of students made an entrepreneurship because a startup they started, there will be great demand for again jobs. It has to be. Otherwise, job created, job is remain actually is there. But the problem is not how to prepare students. Making an environment is problem actually. Now because the basic difference is that risk-taking behavior. You can teach the student, train the students, instill the creativity. The problem is risk-taking, because I have been with the students who have been entrepreneurs. Every day they don't get sleep, food, everything. Actually, they sit 24/7 they work. The problem is that we have not created the environment that tomorrow, if is failed, what is he going to do that? That fear is stopping the students, I'm telling that, to get into this. And if you look at that whole scenario of 100%, only 5% are risk takers. Among them 5%, 1% are successors actually. What will happen to these 4% students? That is, I think, as an institution, we have to think and to create an environment for them to bringing back or helping them further or taking it forward. And academic institutions and technical institute job will not end at 3 years or 4 years. It has to be extended. Now it has become a larger role. And earlier somebody talked about Vasudeva Kutumbam and Guru's role. Guru as an institution, his role remain till he gets succeed in his future. I think that is the challenge for these technical institutions. Now, not that giving the degree and send them out, that is not going to happen. In future, somebody talked about that, we'll go back to the education. We are going to be continuous support to the students for several years till you succeed. That is the challenge for the technical institution. I'm telling you that it's going to happen. This is expected also. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Satish Kumar. And the next speaker in the first cycle is Dr. Tapan Nayak, Director, Jaipuriya School of Business, Ghaziabad.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Professor Chaturvedi, thank you so much for providing this opportunity. The distinguished leaders of the dais, Viswanathan sir, thank you so much for being here. I will not take more than 3 minutes, sir, I promise. Most of the backgrounds and history have already been told by Professor Chaturvedi. I am not here to repeat it. The topic is very, very pertinent to talk about the challenges and opportunities of technical education. Before diving into it, let me just take not more than 30 seconds to talk about the purpose of education, which we have been hearing since morning in the inauguration session. One, that is the conventional requirement. We call it the value system, which need to be intact. The purpose of education. In the morning also, we talked about it. And the second most important, which we are discussing now, Professor Chaturvedi sir, is the requirement of the time. You know, the basic dilemma behind, in front of the technical education is whether to create the employability or to create the enterprise, right? So when we talk about these two, this transition goes through a very, very critical phase called as, the VUCA world to Bani world. VUCA we all know, volatile, uncertain, ambiguous, and, the complexities of business environment, which has now been transformed to the Bani world. The people we are engaging with are highly brittle in nature. They break down very, very quickly. They are very anxious, you never know what they think. And their thinking process is very, very non-linear, and they are very incomprehensive in nature. So the challenges in front of the industry is to make sure to maintain a continuum between the employability and the enterprise. When I talk about the employability, so the educators, the educational institutions, they must dive into different concepts which are already there in the NEP 2020. We call it a multidisciplinary competence. The educational institutions must have to look at the agility and the learning mindset of the students, right? Those who will be graduating 2 years or 4 years down the line. The most important is ethical and sustainable orientation while we talk about, technical education in the era of AI, ML, DL, and, the most of the technological interventions. That is the most important factor. Now, when we talk about the enterprise, the first thing is to talk about the startups, the problem-based learning, sir has already highlighted, right? The mentorship and the funding ecosystems of the institutions and the government, and the curricular integration of innovation, venture creation, and the sustainability. The most critical part which the educators, the educational institutions need to talk about at this point of time is to integrate the industrial skill with the innovation and the creativity. If that is not going to happen, then it is going to create a kind of illusion which we say that a false dichotomy between employability and enterprise, right? Employability without innovation leads to dependence, and entrepreneurship without, employability leads to disillusionment. So to divert that, we need to have a concept called entrepreneurship. So what exactly that? That nurturing the entrepreneurial thinking within the organization where they work. It is not only that you create employability within a student, you make sure that the student and the graduate and the candidate is being innovative and thinking critically to sustain in the Bani, which is the transformed form of the VUCA world. So I'll come back again when the specific question comes, but before I leave this dais, I do not know how much I have contributed, but I have learned a lot from you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nayak. And so we could hear the views of or the introductory remarks of the panelists. Now we will start the discussion further. And I would like to create the scenario for next 5 to 10 years. And here I would like to share that next 5 years, artificial intelligence is likely to cut around 8 million jobs and create 4 million jobs. This is estimate for India. Next 5 years, we will lose 80 lakhs jobs and new jobs will be created to the tune of 40 lakhs. Similarly, we are also going to increase the gross enrollment ratio by 2035, has been said that it should be 50%. Gross enrollment ratio should be 50% in the 18 to 35 age group, 18 to 24 age group. And this will make the current enrollment from 4.5 crores to around 10 crores, 100 million. So there will be extra 5-6 crore students enrolled in our university system, higher education. So in this scenario, how technical education will perform its role. So I will ask Dr. Patidar that what will be the 3 critical challenges before technical education next 5 years. You have to give your reply. Every question will be asked within 1 minute and replies should be to all the fellow panelists.
Thank you so much. According to me, the technical education facing the 3 most important challenges. Number 1 is the gap between industry and academia, the gap between theory and practice, as I already said. Second is we should change the mindset of the faculty by providing opportunities and training to the faculty. They must shift from a rote-based learning to the kind of blended discussion kind of learning. And third thing, the most important thing which is required is the hands-on training and on-job training to make the students, prepare the students with the skills. So these are some of the challenges the technical education is currently facing. Number 1, training to the teachers. Second is provide skill-based education. And third is we should bridge the gap between industry and academia, theory and practice.
Thank you, Dr. Patidar. May I ask Dr. T. Koti Reddy that what will be the 3 biggest opportunities for technical education coming years?
See, as we are focused more on improving the technical education, I expect that there would be more employment opportunities. As I mentioned earlier, the institutions are focusing more on introducing courses related to AI, cloud, data analytics, and such, and some other courses are also have been developed. Now I expect, the Niti Aayog also expects that by 2030, 4 more lakh jobs will be created due to application of artificial intelligence. Now, the artificial intelligence is important because it can automate tasks, increase efficiency, and improve decision making. And already it is transferring various sectors in India, such as healthcare, education, agriculture, manufacturing, retail, and transportation. As far as the employability is concerned, now the institutions have to focus more on enhancing the employability by integrating the practical learning, internship, soft skills, and new age technologies like artificial intelligence, cloud, data analytics into every program. At the same time, entrepreneurship is also important. The entrepreneurship complements employability by fostering innovations, risk-taking, startup culture, business creation, and societal impact. So I expect, see, the institution should make the students both employable and at the same time entrepreneurial. So thereby, there is a need to focus more on outcome-based education. At the same time, our curriculum also should be more flexible. So in terms of designing curriculum, there is a need to just take the assistance of industry people. Industry experts also should be invited. So in almost all institutions, in board of studies or academic councils, we should provide some space for the industry experts also. Thereby, we have to make the curriculum very flexible. At the same time, the industry, the faculty collaboration, there should be more collaborations between the academic institutions and the industries also.
Thank you,
So
Dr.
thereby, we should try to create more employment opportunity for the students. At the same time, by setting up of innovation labs and other innovation labs, by setting up of innovation councils also, and by conducting innovation hackathons with the collaboration of industries, we should explore the possibility of promoting more employment opportunities to our students.
Thank you. So, I am shifting discussion further towards the role of faculty in the future of technical education, and it's a prime agenda for creating, grooming more and more job creators rather than the job seekers. My question to Dr. Satish Kumar is, how can faculty evolve from lecturers to innovators and innovation catalyst?
This is a great transformation for the faculty, sir. Faculty knows to do research and teach, study and teach, and publish and how to make them to publish. From there, we are asking faculty to do something which they have not done in their whole life. That is creating an industry, taking risk, to go into an unsafe, because uncomfortable environment, take challenges. Very, very important thing. And he has to make the student to do that, which he has not tried in his whole life. So faculty has to evolve now. I think that this whole transition pressure is not only academic, not on the academic institution, it's a great stress on faculty, which is the backbone of every institution. Now, faculty has to be creative, faculty has to be risk-taking, faculty has to motivate students to do which he has not done, and make them to do and see to it he succeeds. That is the challenge for faculty. Faculty is no more a simple reading book and teaching. He will become a great mentor for the teachers, and which they remember lifelong. I think that guru role is coming back to that. Thank you.
So, thank you, Dr. Satish Kumar. Let me ask the next question to Dr. Tapan Nayak. My question is related to NEP 2020. There are three important components of NEP 2020: multidisciplinarity, innovation, and entrepreneurship. So how technical education can develop into these three domains: multidisciplinarity, innovation, and entrepreneurship?
Thank you, sir. It's a great question. I also, in my initial thought, told you that the NEP 2020 is bringing these three very, very important concepts: multidisciplinarity. And the second you said, sir, the second one, sir, entrepreneurship and innovations. See, without innovation, the student, whom we are going to make an entrepreneur, is not going to be successful. And to make the student innovative, the faculty himself or herself has to also be an innovative one. what I am trying to tell you that, the faculty, when you try to skill these students, today, the faculty also need to reskill, retrain, right? Because, when we talk about the skill, it is not a fixed one. Every time, every year it is changing depending upon the industry requirement. The faculty, the teacher also have to retrain and reskill himself and herself to inculcate this skilling, the capabilities to the students. As I said, if you do not, take employability and innovation together, then it is going to create a disillusionment. And to break that, what I said is to create the entrepreneurship, where you have to nurture the entrepreneurial thinking within the organization, within the institutions, and to create the creativity and innovation in the minds of the students, right? And for that, diversity is required in the organization itself.
Thank you, Dr. Nayak. And I go back to Dr. Patidar that the question is related to the ecosystem of his university, which is located in a remote area. So question is, how can university engage local industries, MSMEs, and communities? Third is very important, along with local industry and MSME. How can university engage local industries, MSMEs, and communities for job creation?
I think this is one of the most important question related to current topic. In the remote areas, this is a real opportunity with the institution and the universities and higher education institutions to develop an ecosystem with the industries, invite industry expert, not only for the delivering talk, but involve them in designing the curriculum, pedagogy, and the assessment system. We must send our students and faculty to industry, identify the real problem of society and industry. When the students and faculty come back to the university, we should assign them some projects. And with the support of the industry expert, we should facilitate our faculty to solve the problem of the industry. These are the ways which we can connect with the industry, and we can involve the industry expert in designing the curriculum. Third most important thing is the students and faculty should go for the hands-on training, on-job training. When the students go and work on the shop floor, they must realize the reality, what is happening in the industry, why the technology is using, what is the use of artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, and the recent advanced Industry 4.0 technology in industry for enhancing their productivity, improving the efficiency, reducing the losses, reducing the downtime, how improving the overall process effectiveness. These are some of the things which are very, very important, and this is a golden opportunity, the universities like us, those who are very near to the industry, so they can invite the industry expert and involve them in designing curriculum, pedagogy, and assessment system. Second thing is, as UGC also allowed, we should hire at least 20% of the industry expert as a professor of practice. So whenever any retired industry person having more than 20 years, 30 years experience, we should recruit them as a faculty in the university. In our university, we are doing these practices. And third most important thing is, we should send our faculty to industry for every year to learn the latest upgradation in the technology and what is happening in the industry. I think these are the ways we can involve the industries, and we can associate with the industries to bridge the gap between industry and academia, theory and practical.
Thank you, Dr. Patidar. So last question to fellow panelists will be asked to Professor Chaudhary Satish Kumar. The question is related to creating the startup ecosystem in the university and college campuses. Because without bringing startup ecosystem into the campuses, it will be difficult to catch the imagination of teachers and students to work together for making universities and colleges job creators. And to keeping in mind this aspect of technical education, Atal Incubation mission was started under the Niti Aayog in 2019, and right now around 60 plus Atal incubation centers are being run across the country in universities and colleges, particularly in engineering colleges and management institutes. Some private universities and public universities are also running their own incubation centers. Along with incubation center, we also require acceleration centers. So after the startups are ready to plunge into the markets, they need support, financial support, they need hand-holding, so accelerators are also required. So my question to Professor Satish Kumar is, how to make incubators and accelerators really effective rather than symbolic? What should be done?
Many things you have to do, not one. Because it's a success of an incubation to a product, it's a multidimensional, not single dimension. We have to create technical skill, we have to create industry connect, we have to create financial support, we have to create an environment, we have to create a support service long term. These are the major important things actually, because engineering students, startup, they don't know what is marketing. Management students, they know marketing, they know how to make a product which is, I think, useful actually. So this connect will happen in the industry. What you said, what Chaturvedi said, that I agree with that. Institutional innovation centers are the breeding grounds for innovation, no doubt about it, but it is a multidimensional. We have to do many things. Simply we think that from the industry side, there is no connect. I think what they think, we bring industry. In Indian industry, never felt that academia is my backbone actually. Never felt that, I'm telling you, even though we say that, because Sir Patidar sir telling me we are going and bringing them, we have to invite them. They do a bada favor karte hain academic institution mein by coming and doing it. Couple of industries, they created centers, that is also an ornamental centers. They never be a research and development centers. They never use that in academia, but anything come from the foreign, they think that is the center actually. The problem is that. So now, until unless our student innovations, once they become the industry, they come back, I think it's a long term. Before that, something has to be done to bring that connect much stronger, where they feel academia is the dependent. I think they give the output to us, and our responsibility is that we have to provide the output. This connect has to be done, otherwise they all become in ornamental centers. Thank you.
Hello.